and say how wonderful each program was that he went to, because he was seeing the Krishna consciousness in every program. But he did that, again, I'm showing that he did it on an individual basis, that he greeted us and took care of us. Not only did he see that we as women, because our husbands had no bank accounts in these days, and we were all preachers. Prabhupada, at this particular time in Prabhupada, we were a preaching party. And Prabhupada had given it the name a World Sankirtan Party as early as 1967 on a morning walk around Stowe Lake. He said, one day I will take you to India and we will launch a World Sankirtan Party. So that started in one way with the opening of Europe and London and Hamburg in 69. But this whole mood of Sankirtan pervaded this 5-month period with Srila Prabhupada, and again, he was there on a personal level. I think the most exciting thing for me at that time was that I was so happy to be in Prabhupada's association that, and there's mentioned different things in the biography, depending on who Satsvarupa Maharaj interviewed, on who got up early with Prabhupada. But some of us I took the time personally in indoor to change my schedule around to Prabhupada's schedule. So I got up at 1:30 every day. And there was this wonderful arrangement that our host made. This is just a little side thing that might not be in the biography. Where there was a big iron kettle, around about 5-6 feet across, with hot water in it. Remember at the corner of the courtyard? Big courtyard. And we could go over there, and they would put the fire on at night. So even if it was cold out, this is fall in India, you know about what the temperature is. It's sometimes, changing over a little bit in October, November. Not cold, but a little breeze. And so a hot bath is a little welcome at 1 in the morning. So I would wait till I heard Prabhupada. I'd wait till he went over and got his bath and took his bath, and as soon as he was finished, then I'd head over in the corner and get my bath water. And the arrangement there in the day, of course, we had these non-stop Sankirtan programs like we've been describing, but in the hours between 2 o'clock and Mangalarti, which was pretty much 4:30 every morning, Prabhupada had this small hall. Well, I'd say it's about half the width of this and the same length of this. And he sat up at one end and did his translating work. So one morning after the bath, I just snuck in the other end. So it was as if Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was in the corner there, and I'm sitting up here. So I thought maybe I'll sneak in and he won't see me. So I snuck in and sat down and didn't say a word, just started chanting my japa. And after I chanted maybe an hour and a half of japa, then I pulled out, I was studying TLC at that time in the morning. So I pulled out my TLC, and as soon as I pulled out my book, really fast, Prabhupada came over, got up from his seat, and walked over. I paid my obeisances, and he said, "You finished your rounds?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "What are you reading?" And I said, "I'm reading TLC." He said, again, which he said to so many of his disciples, but he said, thank you so much for studying my books." So he wrote, our business obviously is to inundate the planet with Prabhupada's books, but it's also used to study them, to relish them on a daily basis. And we all from the early days have the injunction that he wanted us, even in that stage, for training Bhagavad Gita, NOD, and TLC every day, every devotee. Do we do that now? Every day, all of us do at least that? One of his first early, to relish his books. So every morning during our stay in Indore, that was our relationship, that I got up just after Prabhupada took my bath, went and sat. And I can say that was another one of the sweetest times where we were actually in the same place at other ends, but he allowed me to do that same thing with him.
Do you recall the grapes, really grapes on the train?
Which train?
I think it was for them.
Well, I wasn't with you.
One time, I don't remember exactly what train ride it was, but Prabhupada was not in a separate section. He rode with all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very sweet because we were at an engagement and they had given us a lot of grapes. So we were all sharing this big pile of grapes, everybody pulling it off, Prabhupada sitting there, eating together. So it was lovely because we all sat together and shared the grapes, and he would tell us stories and we would laugh. And, it was pretty special. I was thinking you were there.
I'm not sure, I don't remember that.
From there we went to Surat.
No, I have another pastime from Indore.
Tell them.
There was an afternoon darshan. Prabhupada had, in Indore we did these Gita Bhavan things, and that's mentioned a little bit. Hansadeva Maharaj spoke about that, some of his recollections of that. And there were some interesting leelas with Srila Prabhupada and our kirtan party and our host in that were worth studying, and we were so inclined to look them up. But in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, every afternoon Prabhupada had darshans for his devotees and guests to come visit him. And I remember it was the day after Ekadasi. I have mostly to remember these things, so I don't know what day or what Ekadasi it was. But it was the day after Ekadasi, and he had had his head shaved by a gentleman that came to shave his head and clean out his ears. I think many of you in India have seen these people that carry little boxes around and look like kind of medieval torture, business where they clean the ears out. So.
The nails.
And the nails.
He also shaved the armpits.
And shaved the male armpits sometimes. But so he had had this done. But what was very exceptional about this particular person was that after the shaving of the head, this man, now I was cooking at the time, so I was in a place where I could see the massage, kind of, watching out my outside of the eye. But I remember after that was timing, when, the prasadam was going to come. So when I saw, when I looked outside, I saw this incredible thing taking place where this gentleman was giving Prabhupada a head massage, and all of you that I know Brahman and Maharaj, you did obviously give women massages. And most of our men, that's something I, of course, never did. There was no woman who did that service. We were engaged in personal service, but never that. And this head massage was unlike any that I'd ever seen Prabhupada get. And this man's hands were beautiful. It was now, since I've studied that, it was Ayurvedic massage, and he was a genius at it. And Prabhupada's head was in his hands. This man was moving Prabhupada's neck and spine and his head in amazing ways, and using his hands almost like a good coal player does on a drum. I mean, he had Prabhupada so limber, and it was in the sun, and I mean, after it was over, Prabhupada said, "Thank you," said, "I've never had a head massage like this." And it was so beautiful to watch, and so he invited him. He said, "You come." So that's why this is a forerunner to this darshan. So when the man came, he brought, there's one thing in the biography where William brings potato chidwa, but this man brought aloo chidwa, and chidwa is a fried savory snack. That aloo chidwa was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's favorite afternoon tiffin time repast. He passed that on to us. So of all things, this man happened to bring aloo chidwa and present it to Srila Prabhupada. So immediately upon receiving that chidwa, he began to speak about his spiritual master and about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And for nearly an hour, this man sat at Srila Prabhupada's feet, and you felt as if his whole life had changed from the reciprocation of being able to give Prabhupada the massage, and he was speaking then very much to this one simple man with his little black box